This is a CBS News special report. I'm Anthony Mason in New York. Right now, the government is releasing two key reports that will shed new light on how the economy is being hammered by the pandemic. We're expecting an historic drop in America's gross domestic product, GDP. That's the broadest measure of the country's economic strength. Analysts say the economy is in serious trouble right now. We're also going to be getting new numbers on how the pandemic is affecting the job market. The Labor Department just reported another 1.4 million Americans filed for unemployment last week. This comes as Congress remains deadlocked over another stimulus package to boost the economy and help people who've lost their jobs. Let's bring in CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Jill, let's start with the GDP report. What does that tell us?
Well, first of all, GDP, that is the total measure of the U.S. economy, goods and services. And we saw a historic contraction in the second quarter, down by just under 33% on an annualized basis. Now, just to remind everyone, because you don't study Econ 101 every day, 33% doesn't mean we drop by a third over one quarter from another. It means that if we were going to push this through for the next 4 quarters, it would be a 33% drop. This amounts to about a 10% drop from the previous quarter. It is awful still. Just remember, the worst performance that we have seen since records have been kept back in 1947. Anthony, this does sort of approach the Great Depression era. We didn't have numbers at that time, but it's clear it was a devastating contraction in the U.S. economy, and that's what occurred in the second quarter of the year. Yeah,
and the net effect of that, of course, are job losses. Jill, what do you make of the unemployment number for the quarter?
Well, this is clearly, just like Jay Powell said yesterday, the chairman of the Fed, that the pace of the economic recovery is following the virus. Because we have seen a spike in cases in the virus in the South and West, we sort of stopped short on the progress we were making in the weekly claims. So to have here in the 19th, 20th week since this all began, to have another 1.4 million people applying for unemployment, it's staggering. More than 53 million people have applied for benefits since the pandemic reared its ugly head.
So how critical does that make another stimulus package, Jill?
When I talk to economists, they believe that that extra money that is going to people who are sidelined in the economy right now, that is imperative. In fact, we do expect the economy will bounce back in the second half of this year. Estimates for, say 13 to 18% increase in the quarter we're in right now. But those estimates are predicated on more help to Americans and to small businesses. Without that help, the economy could really see its fortune sort of slide a little bit in the second half of the year. Again, we've already started to recover. It looks like the worst quarter is behind us, but people will need the help, and so too will the economy.
All right, Jill Schlesinger, thank you, Jill.